What's up, America? This is Dr. Nitin Chhoda, and in this training video, I'm going to answer the question, what to do if you're out of work, everything you need to know about unemployment benefits. Now, before we get started, if you're a member of our community, welcome back. If you're not a member of our community, please consider subscribing. Please click the comment button below. Please click the like button below. Please subscribe and please smash the notification button so you can get an instant update whenever I release an important update like this. So I'm going to go over 5 important things in this training video. The first thing I'm going to go over is how do unemployment benefits work in a normal world? What do unemployment benefits look like under normal circumstances? Now keep in mind this varies from one state to another. Then number 2, I'm going to go over the expanded unemployment benefits in this world that we live in this pandemic world. Now keep in mind it's not possible for me to address every single situation and every single nuance. You'll need to contact your state agencies about that, but I'm going to do my absolute best to cover every single thing I can. Number 3, I'll cover what to know before you file for unemployment. So there are certain things you need to be aware of. So we'll make sure that all of those things are checked off. Number 4, I'll talk about how you can get in touch with your state agency so that you can apply for unemployment, best practices to make sure that you start getting unemployment benefits. And number 5, I'm going to go over what is the information that you need, what are the things that you need to have in place before you can apply for your unemployment claim. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So back in 2008, there was a study done by the St. Louis Federal Reserve Bank, and at the height of the recession back in 2008 and 2009, at the height of the recession, only half of the eligible people who are eligible for unemployment had actually applied for unemployment. Now, over the next several years, this number did surge to 95%. But what's interesting is even when it was all said and done, when we went through that recession, almost 200,000 people who were eligible for unemployment did not apply for unemployment, presumably because they didn't know that they were eligible, they didn't know how to apply for unemployment. And that's what I'm going to try and tackle in this training video. I want all my subscribers to be aware of their rights, what they can apply for, and go ahead and get those benefits that they're eligible for, including the $600 unemployment booster from the federal government that in fact makes a lot of individuals earn the same, if not more money on unemployment than they were to earn with their normal wages. So let's start with the qualification criteria for unemployment in a normal world. Now again, this is in a normal world, not in the world that we live in. I'll be going over that in a couple of minutes. So according to the Department of Labor, you need to meet 2 criteria in order to qualify for unemployment. The first is you're unemployed through no fault of your own. So what this means is you're out of a job due to reasons beyond your control, like a layoff. So if you quit your job without good cause, or if you were fired for gross misconduct, then you're not eligible for unemployment. So that's important to know. Now, again, gross misconduct is a very vague term and that's open to interpretation, but that's what you have. That's from the Department of Labor. The second rule is you must meet your state's requirements for time worked or wages earned. Now, every state has different requirements, again, for time worked or wages earned. So that's essentially the regulation and the rules for each individual state, and each individual state has their own minimum and maximum amount that they'll pay for unemployment, and they have their own criteria. So you will need to get in touch with your state agency, and I'll include a link below in the description. So if you have state specific questions, then it's best to contact your state agency, and please click the link in the description below for the link to get to your state agency and then get in touch with them. Now in general, the good news is if you've had a good long-term job that you've lost, and in the current situation as a result of the pandemic, you should be able to, in most cases, apply and get unemployment, specifically now because a lot of the regulations have been relaxed, and a lot of individuals like contracted workers who were not previously eligible for unemployment can now get unemployment benefits. Also, under normal circumstances, you need to actively be looking for a new job. And so, if you head back to school full time, and you won't be able to collect unemployments because you're no longer actively seeking a new job. Now, there are certain exceptions, like in the states of Washington and Oregon, there are certain exceptions, but in general, these are the laws and the regulations during normal times. Now, with the CARES Act, these unemployment benefits have been expanded to individuals who normally would not get unemployment benefits. This has been expanded to individuals who are self-employed, including gig workers and contract workers, individuals who work part-time, and individuals who wouldn't normally qualify for unemployment benefits because they did not have a sufficient work history. Now, there's one thing to remember: you do not qualify for unemployment benefits if you're able to work from home with pay, or if you're getting paid leave and you're at home while you're out of work. So under these two circumstances, you do not qualify for unemployment benefits. So now let's talk about what you need to know before you file for unemployment. As a general rule, file for unemployment as fast as possible if you think you qualify. So again, file as fast as possible. Keep in mind that all unemployment information, all details vary from one state to another. Some states have waiting periods in which you need to be unemployed for a certain period of time before you start getting benefits. And now, specifically now, because of the situation, the pandemic, a lot of states are completely overloaded. So you want to apply as quickly as possible so you get in line as fast as you can. Each state follows a specific formula that they use to calculate unemployment benefits, and the minimum unemployment benefit and the maximum unemployment benefit varies from one state to another. But now, because of the $600 additional weekly stimulus for the unemployed that's coming from the federal government, the total amount of money that individuals will get when you consider the $600 federal weekly bonus is actually going to exceed the amount of money that a lot of individuals would have gotten had they been working. Now, by the way, this federal $600 weekly stimulus for the unemployed, as of right now, at the time I'm making this video, is only available until July 31st, but it may be extended. After that, we'll just have to wait and see. The average weekly unemployment throughout the country is $371.88. So when you add $600 to that, you're actually close to $1,000. You're just slightly below $1,000, which would cover the average wages for the average American in most situations. So that really was the intention behind the $600 weekly federal stimulus for the unemployed. Now, to begin the process to get unemployment benefits, you need to get in touch with the unemployment insurance agency in your state of residence or state of past employment. You need to get in touch with them as fast as possible because, like I mentioned earlier, this process can take time. Now, to file your claim, you can do it online, over the phone, or in person if necessary. Now, the interesting thing about these unemployment benefits is this does not impact your eligibility for income-based health insurance like Medicaid or the Children's Health Insurance Program. So that's an interesting thing to know. Also, these benefits as of right now are capped at 39 weeks, which is the 26 weeks with the state and an additional 13 weeks with the federal stimulus on top of the state benefits. So currently they're capped at 39 weeks. So currently what the federal government is doing is trying to do away with the waiting period, and the federal government is trying to get the states to pay out these unemployment benefits as soon as possible. But again, because the states are overloaded, because of their software structure, because of their staff, not being able to function at full capacity, all the state systems are overloaded. So be prepared for delays when you're filing your claim because there have been so many applications. 30 million individuals have filed for unemployment. All the phone lines are jammed, all the websites are crashing. So even though there's no waiting period as such, it could take a few days, potentially a few weeks for you to start getting your unemployment money, including the $600 booster. And finally, let's talk about the information you need to be able to file your unemployment claim. Now, keep in mind that all of this information varies from one state to another. You'll have to check with your state, and you can click the link in the description below to get in touch with your state authorities. But again, the information will vary from one state to another. But in general, in most cases, you're going to need your name, social security number, and driver's license. You're going to need your mailing address and phone number so that the state agency can get in touch with you and keep you appraised of the status. Your bank information, your address, your routing number, your bank address, your bank routing number, your bank account number for direct deposit. Now, typically direct deposit is optional, but if the state agency asks for it, you want to give it to them because that way they can deposit the money directly into your bank account as opposed to you waiting for the check for the regular mail. In addition, you'll need employment information from your most recent employer, as well as any employer you've worked with for the past 18 to 24 months. So make sure you have that information. Typically, the information that you're going to need is the name of your employer as it appears on your pay stub or W-2, the complete address, and phone number of your employer. You're going to need your supervisor's name or your employer's name. You're going to need your start date and your end date of your employment. So make sure you have all of this information. You're going to need your wage information. How were you paid? Were you paid hourly? Were you paid weekly? Were you paid monthly? Because all of this information is needed by the state to actually process the unemployment insurance claim, and they'll need to know what is the reason that you are no longer working. You can go over all the reasons that I outlined earlier in this training video, reasons that make you eligible, and hopefully that'll help you. And I'll go over some quick common questions that I've been getting in the FAQs and also stuff that I've been reading online. So hopefully this will answer a few of your questions. Again, it's not possible for me to cover every single nuance, but I'm doing my best. If you have questions, please get in touch with your state authority. Again, if you like this training video, if you're getting a lot of value out of it, please become a member of my community. Please click subscribe. Please smash that notification button, and please, click it so that you can get immediate benefits. Please also click like, because it really helps the YouTube algorithm, and it's a way for you to, essentially say thank you to me for my efforts. I would really appreciate that. Let's go over some common scenarios. You will get the $600 in benefits even if you had unemployment before the pandemic, because this $600 comes from the federal government. It does not come from the state. Now, if you're working from home and you're getting paid for working from home, like I mentioned earlier, you're not eligible for unemployment benefits if you're employed and working from home. Now, if you were working part-time and your hours got cut, are you still eligible for unemployment? This varies from one state to another. So some states provide benefits to part-time workers and others don't. So you'll have to check with your state. And if you had found a job before the virus hit and you hadn't started work, and then suddenly, you couldn't do your job, then yes, if you were scheduled to start your job and you lost your job or are unable to get to your job because of the pandemic, yes, you are eligible for unemployment benefits. Now, if you were self-employed in the past, under normal circumstances, you did not qualify for unemployment, but now you do. Under the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance program, it extends benefits, like I mentioned earlier, to gig workers, contractors, and others who wouldn't normally be eligible to qualify for unemployment. So that's great. And these individuals will get the $600 weekly federal bonus plus half the average unemployment benefit in their state. I've had a lot of questions about the $600 per week unemployment benefit from the federal government and who's eligible. If you qualify for unemployment, regardless of what your salary was, you qualify for the $600 per week federal stimulus. So that's good. Now, you do have to pay taxes on all your unemployment income. So keep that in mind. So when you file your taxes for this year, you're going to have to make sure that you consider and you acknowledge that all the income you received was unemployment income. So part of that money is actually going to go back to Uncle Sam by way of taxes. Now, if you're sick or caring for a family member, you should be eligible for assistance through your state, and you'll need to certify that you're ordinarily able and willing to work, but because of the pandemic, you're not able to do so. So as long as you certify that, you should be eligible for unemployment benefits. Again, please check with your state. Now, by the way, if you've tested positive, or if you exhibit symptoms of this illness, or if you're caring for a family member or someone in your household who's been diagnosed with this illness, you also qualify for unemployment benefits. You should also be covered if you're out of work due to an inability to reach your office or your place of work because of the quarantine and because of the lockdowns that have been imposed for all of us. The federal government has actually made a provision for an additional 13 weeks of benefits after the 26 weeks. So once your state unemployment benefits run out, you're going to get an additional 13 weeks, which brings you to a total of 39 weeks of unemployment benefits. Now, if an extended benefits program is triggered, this is something that's being talked about right now, this can provide an additional 13 to 20 weeks. So there is a likelihood that that can happen as well. So that's big news right there. Now, earlier I talked about the waiting period, which could be a week in some states during normal circumstances. So some states do have a 1 week waiting period for those who become unemployed to start getting benefits. But under this new bill, under the new law, Washington is actually going to pick up the full cost for states to provide benefits immediately instead of waiting for 1 week. That's what Washington is trying to do. But ultimately, it's up to the state where you live to decide whether to provide benefits during that first week. So again, you're going to have to check with your state. Now, one final thing, if you misrepresented your situation to the state, you could be cut off from receiving any further unemployment benefits, and there could be fines and potential litigation and jail time. So let's keep that in mind. So with all that being said, everyone, thank you so much for watching this video training. I really appreciate you watching. If you are a member of our community, thank you so much for watching. If you're not, please click the notification button. Please click the subscribe button first before clicking the notification button, and please click like below because it really helps the YouTube algorithm. I really appreciate you all watching. I hope this helps. We will get through this. Stay strong. God bless, and I'll see you in the next training video.